Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode of Over the Top Talk. I'm your host, Owen, and today I'm joined by another New Englander. I love to see you guys on the podcast. Love to have you guys on. Welcome, UFC fighter Billy Goff. How you doing today?
Doing pretty good. It's been a good day. How you doing?
Perfect. And I'm doing amazing. Football starts in less than like 5 hours, so it's always good when NFL starts back up.
There you go.
Just kind of want to start this off. I know you fought last in, May. How have you been spending your time kind of like outside the octagon since then?
Um, a lot of training. Because I wanted a quick turnaround, but I didn't really get offered anything. Um, so I'm just training to stay ready in case any good short notice opportunities come up, or if I get a camp or just whatever happens. So a lot of training. And outside of that, playing a lot of D&D. I got new kittens, so that's been my life.
Awesome. And kind of, you're sitting on two consecutive losses now. What have you kind of learned about yourself, through these two losses?
Different things come from each fight that you learn. Um, Try to learn from all of them, wins and losses. Last one, um, it's been a big mental push. I think it's not so much unfortunate timing, but it's just the timing of how it happened. I learned a lot as I was getting into fighting and going up the ranks and whatnot. But I didn't focus so much on the mental side of stuff until I got to the UFC. So I'm trying to figure all that stuff out now that I'm here and working with people who kind of specialize in that. Might go over at the UFC and whatnot at the PI. So that's been the biggest thing that's been the biggest challenge and like learning because I'm a bit of a head case. I get worked up really easily. I get very emotional.
And you've been in the UFC for a few years now. What would you say has kind of been your favorite part about being a part of the organization?
I'd say the coolest part about the organization is how many different resources they have available to like help you. I talk to the nutritionist and um, the physical therapist down there all the time. I talk to Micah, the sports psychologist. I track my heart rate, and I'm always asking like, hey, like, what's this look like? Or like I'll send them screenshots of like, hey, I got my heart rate down to this low. So just the amount of resources, even though they have a lot. They have way more when you're out at the PI in Vegas or wherever. Um, Even though I'm across the country, I still have a lot of different options for resources, and it's been very helpful. I've been able to take a lot of that and help my own team. So that's been the best part.
And out of all your fights you've had, whether it's regional or UFC, what's kind of been your favorite fight that you've had so far in your career?
My favorite fight. Um, uh, I mean, I'd probably say my debut in Singapore because it went so smoothly. I got to see a new country. I was on vacation with my buddies, with Dex and Austin, and we got to hang out all week. The fight went perfect, so um, got to try a bunch of new food also after the fight. So I would say probably yeah, definitely my debut.
And kind of just talking about fighting in general, what's kind of the biggest challenge would you say about being a professional fighter?
For me personally, because I'd imagine people face different challenges. Like everybody has a different challenge when it comes to doing this. Um, but it would be the balancing, um, like you have to give so much of your life. Like everything revolves around this. This comes first. All the decisions that you make, whether or not you're gonna go do this or do that, like, or whether or not you're gonna go visit family, because then you have to take a week off of training, or you have to supplement training and like do all this. So traveling's a bitch. Um, the Whether or not you're going to take, because you spar on the weekends and you do this on the weekends, so if you try to do anything on the weekends, then you have to move stuff around, or you just cancel it, which you don't want to miss training. The And you get trying to separate, like now I have the privilege of not having to work while trained, so it makes it easier to hit my workout in the morning, then hit a midday workout, then hit my practice at night. So things are more spaced out and I can have more flexibility in it. Um, but it's still, even with the extra time, still trying to get other things done. Um, having that balancing act of um, just keeping everything, keep it, making fighting the priority constantly, and balancing that with just staying sane is probably the hardest part.
Of course, and with this sport, there comes a lot of pressure. I've had a lot of fighters on. How do you kind of deal with the pressure of maybe stepping into the octagon, or maybe like right before, like when you're in the locker room? How do you handle the pressure that you might feel?
um it's different every time. um every time you step in, it's different. You try to have a routine so that you deal with it the same way every time, and it keeps you in a good flow. Um the I haven't always done a good job of that. And I'm trying to change things, and like, or like I'm trying to like grow in that department as I go. Um because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. The biggest thing is just being present in the moment, and even before you're about to go step in the cage, it doesn't do you any good to sit here and just worry a bunch about the fight. Um like, I'm not fighting right now. I'll fight in 15 minutes. I'm not gonna fight right now. So just being like, I'm warming up with my team. That's what I'm doing. So keeping yourself present and focused on what's the task at hand, instead of always worrying about what's to come. I'd say that's the main, like, no matter what you do, whether you do a routine, whether you do like whatever your plan is, I'm gonna listen to this music. That's kind of all the point of it, is to come back to right here, so I'm not sitting thinking about the fight coming up too much.
Awesome. And I've had a lot of different fighters on, like I said before. Talking about when it comes to making weight, everyone has their own routine they kind of go through. Do you have the same routine you go through when you have to make weight?
Um, Sort of. I used to do hot yoga before my weight cuts, but I didn't do that in the last one because I didn't really need to. My last weight cut was the easiest weight cut I've ever had, aside from like bumping up to 185. Um, I only had to cut 3 pounds, or so that, and it was easy. By the time I had by the end of the day, Thursday, where I had gotten the sauna, I only had to cut 3 pounds, so I wasn't suffering as much. Um, but that was just because it was a lot more. I did way more prep work. I did way more heat acclimation beforehand, um, and I was more dialed in on tracking my food, like with my carbs, and everything. So it was just everything was easier. Um, so I have a somewhat of a routine, but like I said, with the kind of pre-fight routine, I'm growing in all these departments, so a lot of them are changing, and morphing in different ways, because, like, all right, this works, this doesn't work. Let's do this. I like this. I want to do this. I don't want to do this, um, and that's kind of where I'm at right now. I'm figuring a lot of stuff out in those departments, and like my routine, and like making the structure that I want.
Perfect. And if you weren't like a professional fighter, what other career do you think you would be doing right now?
Um, I don't know. It's hard. I was actually just talking to somebody about this the other day about like what I would do outside of fighting. The only thing that I've ever wanted, like the only thing that like it's hard to all my eggs are in this basket, so it's hard to picture what I would do. Um, um, Working with kids is cool. Like I'd be a PE teacher, that'd be fun. The I'm lazy, so I'd get summers off that way, and that'd be nice. And you don't have to take any tests. You don't have to grade tests in PE. Uh,
Yeah, right.
the I'd work. I could work. Like I'd work with animals. That'd be fun. Try to do a D&D podcast, but I don't know how well that would go. Uh, those are things that I just like to do. Those are I don't know if I would do that. The only thing that I've like wanted to do, the only thing that comes close to fighting is wanting to be a dad. Um, so if I could be a stay-at-home dad, that'd be cool.
And maybe, what's your favorite type of music to listen to, like when you're training or maybe just in general?
uh, I listen to a lot of different music. I don't. It depends. Like if I'm doing cardio, I want heavier stuff. If I'm doing like sparring, I want like more groovy stuff. If I'm just like drilling, I want more like upbeat. Like Pat Benatar is really good. Hanging out, like when I'm just hanging out around the house, I listen to a lot of like sad cowboy music. It's always a vibe. So I listen to everything. I like jazz a lot too. I like a lot of instrumental music. Um, it's just wherever I'm at that day.
Perfect. And, if you could choose like one food, to eat for the rest of your life, what would that food be?
Do I get to, so if I said, let's say I said salad, that's not my answer, but let's say I said salad, does that include any type of salad?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so then I would do pasta because that'd be a very wide range, and I don't ever get bored of spaghetti.
And, if you could pick maybe any, fighter to, you know, get a training session in, who would that fighter be?
Get a fighter with a training session. Hmm. Uh, Damn. Demetrius Johnson would be a cool one to train with.
Yeah, Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
And, maybe because I know the UFC is in a lot of different places, they choose, where they are. If you could choose one, location to fight in, where would that be?
I'd love to fight at Mohegan. I, I s- I saw a list recently of all the places that all the states that the UFC hasn't fought in, and Connecticut wasn't on there, so they fought in Connecticut before, and I don't know where. Um, but I would love to fight at Mohegan because it's my backyard. I used to fight here all the time. I feel like I could headline a fight night there and sell it out. Uh, the so I think I'd want to do that. But places that they do go, I want to fight at MSG. It's Madison Square Garden. It's everybody dreams of fighting there.
Yeah, and kind of, you mentioned fighting, a lot in Connecticut. You fought in, Massachusetts. What's kind of been the, biggest change you've realized, when it comes to fighting regionally compared to fighting in the UFC?
There are no the UFC. I mean, I guess there are rare instances where shit happens, and it's the UFC's fault. Um, but like the process of like fight week, paperwork, um, the physical doctor stuff, weighing in, um, like fight day, all of that. Um, there is it is so smooth, and they have so many resources, and they do such a good job, and there's so many people that help the process. Um, and it's insane. And there's regional scenes that do really well. Like Cage Titans does a great job. They're regional, like they still mess up. There's still weird shit that goes on. Um, but out of the regional scene, Cage Titans is the best that I've seen. The commission's always late to regional fights and weigh-ins and whatnot. But with the UFC, everything is just it gets done. Plan gets written out, and then it happens the way that it was planned.
Perfect. And if you could hand out one piece of advice for someone that might want to start, fighting or martial art, what would that piece of advice be?
I'd give the same advice that I'd give anybody else. I like people ask me that question sometimes. I give them. I always say the same thing. Um, Go to a gym if you want to be a fighter. Whether you want to fight or not, I guess too. Um, More importantly, if you want to be a fighter, go to a gym that produces fighters, but everybody. The people in the gym are good people. Also, the good people part is the most important bit because you don't want to spend you're going to spend a lot of time there. You don't want to spend your time around assholes. You want to spend your time around people who are going to look out for you and just are just going to be kind to you.
Awesome. And I mean, that's all, the questions I have. But for everyone that comes on, we let them kind of, say where the people can find them, whether that's, social media, just any type of social platform. So I'll let you do that now.
Yeah, follow me on Instagram, Billy Goff. Same on Twitter. Um, I don't remember. I don't tell people out, so I don't know what it is. But I have a Twitch. You can find all my other links on my Instagram in my bio. The I'm gonna start streaming video games soon, so you guys can watch me suck at Rocket League, uh, and Fortnite. um, um, and just huge shout out to my sponsor, the Nummy's Bakery, best co-packer on the East Coast. Uh, and shout out to my Team Dexter Valley Tudo.
Awesome. And, like I always tell players, I appreciate you guys all for, coming on. You guys help, me and Anthony's obviously not here, but um, you guys help us, make content. So we love having you guys on. So I appreciate you coming on today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, man.
And for everyone watching, I'll throw all the social medias down below that I can find. Make sure to follow Over the Top Talk. We're everywhere: TikTok, Twitter, Instagrams, where we're probably most active. Make sure to subscribe on this video, and we'll see you all in the next one. Thank you, everybody.